Well, we're back. Maybe. We need to start doing some more video, and so we got a lot done on Bob White here off camera. It's been a few months since we've done any YouTube stuff. Kind of had a rough start to a year. Lost some family members, some other ones are sick, and just general life happening. So just haven't really been that motivated to do a whole lot, but got a lot of work done off camera, as you can probably see. I'd have to go watch the last video to see what even we were doing there, but all the suspensions mocked up, motor trans, T-case, drive shafts, all that stuff's in. I think where we'll kind of pick up, we'll kind of just go over do an overview of what we got done, and then we got a list to get this thing finished up. Gonna try to get it done for King of the Hammers in February, which sounds like plenty of time, but working full time, running a business full time, and being a spouse and a father, it's anyway, you know the deal. So what did we get done here? We got a trans cooler fan, the rear's all done. We did like an outboard shock setup, something I've never done before. Got drive shafts in it. We got half of a transfer case cross member, enough to hold it in there to drive it, but eventually we'll do probably a second link here and a full skid, because that's gonna be no bueno on the rocks. Got most of our 3-link done. It's all just kind of tacked in, but we've cycled all the suspension. All of our clearances are good. So suspension wise, we're pretty much done. Everything just needs to be fully welded and gusseted. We still need to put our air bumps on, but we'll do that when we start doing our full weld out of the suspension. Got our steering done. That was kind of wild. Had to run a notch through the shock tower, and then we had to get a little custom with our steering box bracket, get the right angle on it. We are gonna run a PSC Hydro Assist. I want to street drive this thing, so we didn't want to go full hydro. I hate Hydro Assist, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, when we drop it down here later, I'll show you the top. The engine's all wired and plumbed, and so yeah. What do we got left? We got exhaust, probably some cross member skid plates. I got to do front brake lines still. The rear's all done. We got a lot of tube work to finish on the front. Winch, tube work, sliders. I have the front drive line, just got back. Thank you, Logan Clark, I think is his name, over at Potter Webster in Portland. This is the 42 degree CV that I bought from Sky's Off-Road, or not Sky, sorry. High Angle Driveline, Jesse. Don't ever do business with that guy. Absolute nightmare. I've tried him twice now. Both times, I literally have to threaten him with my lawyer to get him to send me my parts. Like, it's just insane. For about 3 months, you'll get the, oh yeah, I'll send it out Monday story. Anyway, complete disaster. And I'm not the only one. If you go on like Pirate, everybody has problems with them. So save yourself the trouble. Tom Woods sells them. I think Driveline Services of Fresno, they sell this joint. So, but yeah, got that done. That's ready to go in. I had just a standard shaft in there, but with a low pinion 60, I had like 30 degrees on the yoke. And even clearancing it out wasn't enough. I can run it if I run my limit straps up a bunch. So like if I ever break that shaft, I have a spare. I can just crank the limit straps up and use it. But that's the problem with these low pinion axles. And I mean, we're not all the way flat bellied, but we are clocked up pretty high on the 205. So that's just kind of the name of the game. So, but anyway, yeah, that's what's been going on. We're going to work on getting these shifters all done, and then once I drop it back down, we'll kind of show you what we did in the interior. We've got it's pretty dark in there. I'll have to grab a light. All right, back with the light. I'll show you what it looks like inside the cab, but we got some craziness going on in the tunnel. But those are Off-Road Design triple stick kit for the Off-Road Design Magnum Box 205. So I gotta put my bolts back in there and hook those back up because I had everything out to paint it. But up in there is the Magnum Box shifter, and then got the twin stick for the 205 with the twin stick rails and all that good stuff. So got a nice sight tube for the oil level. We'll do the same thing on the 205 eventually. So, but anyway, let's get this cable mounted for the Sidewinder shifter, and then we'll get these T-case shifters all hooked up. Probably throw the front drive line in. Got to change that yoke out, and then we'll drop it down, show you what's going on inside. And then the next thing on the list, I think, is we're going to start welding out all of the suspension components. So, I don't know where we left off. I think we were doing some shifter things. Ended up having all kinds of problems with this Art Car Sidewinder, which is kind of funky because it's, I don't know, probably the 4th or 5th one I've installed, but we were having trouble getting enough. Almost like the cable is too short. I only had like 3 threads on this little guy, and it was just going to pull out over time. So I talked to them, and they said buy an adjustable Turbo 400 shift arm, which I thought was kind of funky because this thing's like bone stock. I could see if it had like an aftermarket valve body or a shift shaft or something. But anyway, they're like, the low car ones, they're nice, but they're $80, $100. So I just made a little split, kind of just rocked that back a little bit to where I had good thread engagement, and then just put a tack weld on the little cut, or welded the cut back up. So we're all good there now. So all the shifters are hooked up, T-case, trans. And so I think the next thing we're gonna do is just weld out all of the suspension now that we know that all the geometry is correct. We've cycled everything clears. So we're gonna get all that welded in fully. And then I think we're gonna go for brakes. The rear is done, as you can see. We just gotta get the front done, and then we can actually like fire this thing up, put it in gear, and move it around. So that'll be exciting, give us some motivation to finish it. So, hey Google, turn off copyright. So yeah, super awesome. Just getting everything all welded up, getting all our little gussets in there. Zoom this baby out. We got our top link all welded in. Had to remove all the battery cables and tranny cooler lines and stuff to get some weld up in there. So yeah. Anyway, it's we're getting there. We're all welded out. This is not gonna win any awards by any means. This is just our little foul weather snow wheeling truck, so not gonna be anywhere near as nice as the buggy, but everything's gonna be good and strong, and I'm not gonna get all crazy you know, making it all fit the frame beautifully. Like, we're not going to SEMA. So, but yeah, everything on the frame side's done. Now we're gonna go to the axle side, get all that welded out and all the gusseted up, and we should be done with all of the suspension other than bump stops. All right, it's been a few days, but we finally got back to it. So we're kind of blowing this thing apart. Had to pull the steering and the header off to get in here and fully weld everything out. So everything is fully welded. We're gonna do bump stops next, and then we're gonna keep blowing it apart and paint what we have. That way we can throw it back together and then keep working on all the tube work and winch mount on the front, and that way we don't have to take it more apart as we add more components like winch and all that stuff. So, and I want to put coolant in it and get the brakes done. I want to go put it around. So I don't want to put coolant in it until we can get everything painted and the radiator and stuff all in there permanently filled up. So I think I haven't walked you guys through what we did inside. Here's how the shifters and the console turned out. The reason I put this cup holder here is because I needed access to the fill and the shift linkage for the Magnum box. Otherwise, I would have put this shifter farther up here because it's a little awkward, not bad, to shift it back here. If this was up a few inches, it really would have made it nice. But anyway, so we got twin stick 205 Magnum box, cup holder, shifter. We just kind of cut the carpet out kind of crude, threw it back in there so we had something. So as far as the dash, we got the aux beam switch pack and then just the small Holley screen for now. Later on, we'll probably put a Holley dash in here like the buggy has, but for now, we're gonna run with that. So yeah, interior's pretty much done. Just gotta bolt the seats down and put the seat belts in. Do a little touch-up paint on the cage now that everything's welded. We tried to paint as much as we could while the tubes were out, but it'll need to be finished off. So yeah, getting closer. So I got the header. Yeah, this side's all fully assembled. Everything's pretty much wired though. It's starting to get a little busy back there. A lot of wiring in a small truck. But there's what it looks like with the fenders and stuff on. Oh, these are pretty cool too. The other day, I got sick of using a stick for a prop rod, so we got these off eBay, AVR Customs. It's a little kit they make with the brackets already all ready to go. So pretty sweet to just be able to lift it up. I don't even have that one installed because I have the fender off, so even with one, it supports the hood. So be a good looking little pickup once the front end's all done and the winch is on. So I'm trying to make this one kind of not too crazy, like drive it on the street, you know, and kind of look like a stock pickup. That's why we went with the internal cage. And, you know, just aside from some mud flaps and a rear bumper when we get there, it should be all street legal. So that's what we got going on in the bed. My brother bought me a new cooler for my birthday, so that'll be cool. Fuel cell. Got one of those old surplus, Army surplus boxes. I can't remember what they hauled in them. Somebody said some kind of missile or something because they have like a moisture indicator, but probably not that cool. Probably like some radios or something dumb. We had to move the coilovers to weld the bump stop cans in. And then I was like, well, shoot, let's just blow it apart and paint what we can. That way, when we finish all the tube work, we can just kind of clean off the spot and weld our tube in and patch it up. It'll be less work to tear it down now and paint it versus getting more and more stuff bolted onto it. So we took an hour, we blew it apart, kind of masked it up as best we could and shot some paint on everything. So we'll let that dry. We'll get all these links painted up and then we'll reassemble. Should be the final assembly on the suspension. The only thing left we got to do is build some striker plates for the bumps, and the suspension will be 100% done. This will be the first time it's moved under its own power. Keep in mind that there is no exhaust and there's no 2 sensor plugged in, so the Terminator X literally doesn't know what to do at all. But it's still pretty exciting that it does move on its own power. Didn't like that. There also is no brakes, so we're using the forward reverse to slow us down, which is super fun because it doesn't want to idle, and you throw it in reverse to slow yourself down and the engine dies. We ended up doing the exhaust off camera, but here's a little clip of how that turned out. Sounds pretty good. It's a dual 2.5s into a single 3-inch Flowmaster side exit.